All right, welcome back to Politics and Movies. And all right, today we're talking about one of my personal favorites. We're talking about Withnail I, the 1987 British black comedy film, Bruce Robinson, loosely based on Robinson's life in London in the late 1960s. Withnail I. The I being the Marwood character, who's really, Bruce Robinson's self-insert. So yeah, just getting right off the bat, thoughts do you have about this movie, or Fishy?
Well, that's funny because everyone seems to love it but me. I didn't really get it.
Well, it's also one of my favorites of all time. I've always loved it. This is the first time I've rewatched it in
Yeah, to be fair.
maybe a decade.
Yeah,
but
you didn't get it because
definitely
you're
still
positive.
held up.
Mo,
Yeah, I'm really
you're
looking forward to
positively
this.
Mo.
Yeah. Can I use your bath?
Yeah. So how would you react if Uncle Vernon Dursley cornered you and tried to seduce you?
I respect a man who can appreciate firm young carrots. I never had an uncle who fawned over them, so I suppose I missed out on one of the formative experiences of life, which is why I am as I am today.
I mean, technically the carrots were all Danny, He wanted to get him nice and drugged up, but he was very responsible. I'm gonna get into all of that, but first things first.
Yeah, no burglaries here.
Yeah. All right. So right off the bat, there's a scene near the beginning that I just really love. It's iconic. There's a lot of iconic scenes in this, but right at the top we got Richard. Just like reeling from alcohol withdrawal and lighter fluid. Which but I think it's funny because like of course he's screaming, "I must have some booze! I must have booze!" in his Shakespearean baritone, and it's really funny. That Withnail proudly claims it's far superior than meth. I mean, it's the same shit. So that's I don't know. It's a funny scene, and like the funny thing is in real life, the behind the scenes, Bruce Rock on the practice takes had Richard E. Grant drinking water, but on the real take he switched it to raw vinegar. That's why it's so real.
I didn't know that. That's
what do you think
good.
about that, Gio?
Well, I drink vinegar recreationally, so that seems a little. The more amusing thing is that the actor was a teetotaler and had an allergy to alcohol, but the director thought that he couldn't properly play a souse unless he had been properly intoxicated, and so sort of force-fed him drinks so he would know what it was like. And he found it rather unpleasant.
Yeah, that's also true. Well, I know there's a particular scene that Fishy is dying to talk about. Oh my God, I love the landlord. Fishy knows what I'm talking about. But the drunk landlord. It's like like he knows. Like I don't think that Withnail is bullshitting. He's just happy to make a connection. So like when Withnail mentions that he'd seen some action in Ireland entirely fucking made up. Like at the time we had. The UK had only deployed like a month before, so that's like physically impossible. But anyway, then you took a crack at the Mick, and then there's a guy in the back that bristles at that because he's like probably has Irish sympathies. And Fishy, could you tell us more about that guy?
You mean Dara O'Malley, the guy who calls Fonts?
Yeah.
It's funny, when I first watched Withnail and I had never seen Sharp, so he was just some random guy to me. But now that I've seen Sharp, I can never not just see Sergeant Patrick in that scene, and it's it just adds so much to it. Imagining like him being home from leave from Wellington's army and getting into a bar fight by calling a guy 100 years in the future a ponce for having perfume on his shoes.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, oh man. It is kind of funny though. The internet thinks of Sean Bean as like, like for his dramatic deaths, but like that's the one thing that he's like never right, and it's ran for like a long time and had plenty of spin-offs and movies.
Sharp was like his first big break, and yeah, like you said, he's basically immortal in it. He's constantly just not dying, even though like that show is not at all averse to killing off main cast. They constantly fucking murk his friends and stuff. But
yeah, it's funny. In action writing, we'd call that quantum immortality, like jokingly.
Sounds like some TV tropes Reddit shit. Are you sure?
Well, yeah. Well, it's real. Where do you think they get it from?
Wow, screenwriters are so much more cringe than I thought.
That's a surprise.
Things have come a long way from Singing in the Rain, I tell you what.
Yeah, well, do you want to crack at the Mick, GS?
I think he wants a Mick to crack him.
crack open a cold Mick with the boys.
No, we'll share the last potato.
Yeah.
You ask to wear a leprechaun's hat, GS.
Well, remember, hairs are your aerials. Pick up signals from the cosmos and transmit directly into the brain. This is the reason bald men are
I agree with that.
Yeah, see, back then, you didn't need to get all your takes from Joe Rogan. You could just find your friendly neighborhood drug dealer.
Yeah, this guy's well connected. He's got the good shit.
I love how in the scene where he's talking about spiking Withnail for shit talking him. Obviously I know that money went a little further back there, but he spends like 5 whole minutes hyping up this drug and stuff that he's got in the doll's head, and then he finally whips it out after his long sales presentation. And he tells Withnail it's £2, and Withnail totally balks at that, like it's the most expensive thing on earth. It's just.
Well, actually, to be fair, £2, £2 in '69 would be $130 today. So yeah, that is a pretty steep
actually,
for, random drugs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they were still, using pennies for everything.
Right.
What the
right? Shillings.
Fuck happened to the pound?
They hadn't experienced quite as much inflation.
Right. So yeah, $130 is a little steep. Random fucking drugs. Like you can for context, you could get a sheet of acid for 90 in today's money. So back then, equivalent probably, maybe even less because LSD was a lot cheaper back then.
Those were the days. Back when you could go around with your Harry Potter glasses without getting punched in the fucking pun's face.
So one interesting thing is the terrifyingly eccentric romantic Uncle Monty, played by the wonderful Richard Griffiths, was heavily based on the iconic Italian director Franco Zeffirelli. Bruce Robinson actually had auditioned for Zeffirelli's 1968 film Romeo and Juliet as a young actor, and Zeffirelli had made aggressive, unwanted romantic advances toward him in a hotel room, and experienced Robinson channeled directly into Monty's predatory pursuit of Marwood.
Fuck yeah, baby.
Yeah, so the Mediterraneans are a passionate breed.
I mean, I guess being afraid you're going to be assaulted by a very camp, overweight gay man, you gotta figure out a way to make that valuable, or it's just going to be a very unpleasant memory.
Yeah, I lived in fear for 3 years.
I'm sure you lived in fear.
From whom? Me? Fuck you.
That's the joke.
I know that's a joke. That's why I said fuck you.
No, so afraid.
I did, in fact, lock the door every night.
Yeah, coming from the guy who held hands with my ex-wife, fuck you.
That didn't happen.
It happened. Fuck you. I saw it. It
That
doesn't matter.
didn't happen.
All right, whatever. I don't care. I really don't. I just think it's funny.
It
Anyway,
didn't fucking happen.
all right. Okay, it didn't happen. I don't care.
You don't believe me, and
I
that's
don't
I
care.
think the lady does protest too much.
yeah. Well, ask your therapist if you care.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on. Let's talk about H.E. Bates. Marwood invokes him, ironically, when they're talking when they first walk through the miserable, rain-soaked Cumbrian country cottage landscape. And no, actually, it's Withnail that says it. Not like H.E. Bates. I thought they'd all be outside and discussing butter. Like so obviously, like there's the political framing there of like, okay, he's invoking this idyllic, like provincial, quaint country writer who, really romantic. That's not the experience they're getting here, right? Like they're miserable. No one wants to talk to them. Everyone knows they're in town, even though they lie about it constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pastoral ideal that perhaps never even really existed, because everyone needs their escapism, their fantasy, their idealized versions of things, and I think that's one of the big sort of through lines of this movie is the old world versus the new, the city versus the country, and Monty straddles both, among other things. He's very much that sort of as the Victorian gave way to the Edwardian and the psychedelic 60s, as the head man refers to at the near the end of the movie, to the iniquities beyond. So Monty kind of represents the socioeconomic, the privileged institutional class, all manners and sherry and country homes, and judgment of one on one's the merits of provenance and stock and education. And that's sort of, I feel like that's the life that Withnail feels he deserves, right? He's just a consumer while producing, nothing but angst and ennui, and it's just, gluttony that is, unself-conscious based on his presumed value as an artist and his future achievements, and it's where he belongs and what he deserves. And so it's sort of unself-aware, upper class aspiration that is
Oh yeah.
has him at odds with his present situation.
Right, and I think it's interesting we actually get that perspective from him as an actor because Richard Griffiths actually grew up in that Edwardian era, pompous assholes, so he channels that vibe, very effectively.
And he does love his baby carrots.
Yeah.
I do. Go ahead.
And, no,
I
sorry,
do
you
think
go.
in regards to them being let down by the countryside, I think, there's definitely a point that is being made about how it's not living up to the expectations. But I also feel like there's an undercurrent of it's not necessarily the city or the country or any locale that is failing to live up to any sort of standard. It's more just like if you're a miserable person, it doesn't matter where you are, you're going to be miserable. Like, I'm not saying that everyone in the countryside is nice to them. They are generally kind of short with them and stuff. But, even the guy that they just unprovoked started shit with in the pub, the poacher, Jake, he does come give them free food and stuff, and they're just too terrified thinking he's trying to kill them. I think it does kind of lend itself to that, like I said, whole aspect of, well, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're miserable, you're going to be miserable, and you can't outrun yourself so much.
Exactly, especially Withnail is trying to escape from his problems, and you can't really do that. Like it's like the line in Mrs. Doubtfire, when Robin Williams let's go on a vacation. And Sally Field responds, well, once we get back, our problems will be waiting for us. It's like that, it's life. You can't escape your problems. You have to face them at
Yeah.
some point. And, as we see, Marwood eventually does. Withnail and Danny do not. But we'll
It
get
does
into
feel in sort of a way that, like, even though it was Marwood's idea, a large part of the excursion, especially once they get there, is Withnail struggling against himself to, like, he kind of knows he's doing it and is ashamed of it, but does it anyway, that he wants to kind of keep Marwood down. He professes to be happy when he finally gets the lead role and everything, but you can tell he's just devastated. He's like, oh, so I'm just going to be alone now with all this misery. And the longer they stay at the cottage, the more he tries to find ways to keep Marwood there, even though he's getting telegrams and calls from his agents giving Marwood good news, saying, hey, you're up for this role, and you are getting this role, then no, you're getting the lead. And every time he gets off the phone with his agent, you can just see Withnail's face sink. He's desperate to do anything he can to just keep Marwood there and extend this joint misery a little longer so he doesn't have to be miserable alone, which is, I think, interesting.
Yeah, that is actually touches on the main question I had coming out of this film, and that is the movie trying to say anything by Marwood getting the part and with no just continuing to wallow and not getting parts? Like, is he
Yes.
potentially getting parts that he's passing up because he's, wallowing and
Yeah.
feels they're not up to his standards?
Yeah,
Or,
and
like,
we see him
we
turn
don't
down.
we don't see them put in different amounts of work. We don't
Yeah.
see, whether that one is actually a good actor and the other isn't. Like, we don't really know about that. So it could just be like a reflection on chance
No,
and fate.
that, but I think
more
we
than
also
anything.
see, I don't know.
Well, I have
Yeah,
something
yeah, go
about
on.
that if it's okay. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's funny because we actually do see that. We see the scene towards the end where Withnail turns down an understudy, role because he thinks it's beneath him. And then, we see him finally, fully giving up by performing the most brilliant rendition of Hamlet's monologue in the park alone to wolves at the zoo. In the rain. I think that's his ultimate downfall. He delivers a perfect performance and no one's around to see it except for wolves. I think that shows you the extent of his character arc.
Yeah.
He has fully given up at this point, and he finally gets to play the Dane, as Uncle referenced, but it's not on a stage, it's not an amphitheater, it's not a full packed house in West End. It's to a fucking zoo, to animals that don't know what the fuck is going on. So yeah, I think that's a perfect resolution
Yes,
for him.
More perfect than filling the shotgun full of wine and blasting his head off while drinking it.
that was the original ending. He was supposed to go home and blow his brains out, and I'm really glad they didn't go through with that original ending. I think that
No, that would have been
that's boring.
yeah, it would have been boring and too bleak.
I'm not even sure if it necessarily would have been less bleak. I think that, I mean, not that it's definitely happened, but you could safely assume that was somewhere in his future anyway. But just him being alone and walking home in the rain after giving a great performance, I think, is just the right amount of cap on his character. I think him going home and having a big blowout scene where he kills himself would have just kind of been bordering on gratuitous and would have subtracted from the misery, and it would provide a sense of catharsis and an end point that I don't think he had really organically reached at that point.
No, I think I 100% agree. Yeah.
I've got it. I
Okay.
think he sort of just needs to reach rock bottom, and Marwood, they sort of had a codependent relationship, right? They were keeping each other's fanciful dream alive to an extent. These two definitely not gay actors shacked up. That also is an interesting thing. I think that the movie does not feel any great need to give them a case of the not gaze, like to make any reference to any, these are sexless characters, essentially.
Yeah. Like, no, really. For the most part, their sexuality doesn't matter for this narrative. Like, it's not a factor.
Which normally I would find refreshing, but here was a bit like, I don't know, they're such greasy guys.
Well, I
Weird
mean, think
little.
about it. It makes sense. They are constantly drugged out, hungover. They have no sex drive. Whatever sex drive they had is burned out.
There.
But I'd say with
ask
the
me how I
big
know.
old hedonist glutton,
Yeah.
and that is one of the appetites that we tend to associate with that mode of behavior.
Well, his vices of choice are wine and sherry. Those don't turn down your sex drive. They amp it up.
And self pity.
Yeah, and self pity. I
The ultimate aphrodisiac.
I never played the Dane. You play the Dane. I will play the Dane in your bumhole tonight. Dudley, I've got 36 blowjobs for you. Last year it was 37.
Poor Monty.
Poor Monty.
Like how it is.
Poor Monty.
Yeah,
He just wanted
I
to
do
get
like
laid.
how it's kind of revealed after he leaves that, obviously he came on way too strong to a guy way younger than him that is
Yeah, it was very
extremely not
predatory.
interested. And I'm not excusing it, but he was under the false impression deliberately given to him by Withnail that Marwood was a deeply repressed homosexual yearning for a chance to express himself openly and freely, and Monty convinced himself that he could be that key to that proverbial lock. So I mean, like,
but that
is the ultimate prank, isn't it? Setting a Randy Bull on your friend.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, he's ready to go. But the interesting thing for me about that scene though is that it shows Marwood taking control, and it shakes Withnail's concept of barn burying. Basically what because these guys would have absolutely been familiar with the importance of being earnest. It would have been hot shit when these guys were acting. They would have probably performed a dozen productions of it. But anyway, my point is they would know about the concept of barn burying, and Withnail absolutely uses it throughout this. But he uses it in like a jerk off kind of way. Marwood uses it for self-defense against Uncle Monty, and that's interesting because he basically as a Batman gambit, and that's fascinating. And it pays off. It works. He flips the script on both Withnail and Monty.
I do think it's telling, and kind of sort of to get back to what his question about the difference in their acting ability and why Marwood seems to succeed at the end while Withnail fails. I think one point the movie does kind of make is that they're probably more or less equal in terms of their actual ability to act. It's just Marwood is so much more easy to deal with on a human level, and he's much more personable. Like, you probably wouldn't want to be around Withnail very long, even if you were fucking trashed out of your mind constantly. And I think that,
that's exhausting. I know people like that. That's exhausting to be around.
Sure, man.
Yeah, we all do.
But, like, even after Monty leaves, Marwood is the one who has been terrified of him this entire time, who has borne the brunt of all these unwanted advances. He very nearly essentially got raped by him, even though, in Monty's mind, that wasn't what was going on. But in Marwood's mind, that was exactly what was going on, and he experienced the full frontal terror of it. But when Monty leaves, and
he was self-aware. He said it will be a burglary if
must
necessary.
have you, even if it must be burglary.
Yeah, but I still think he was role playing.
God.
I still think he was role playing in that moment. I don't think he actually, intended to rape.
Because as soon as Marwood made it clear in his lie that he was with Nell, and he didn't want to cheat on him, Monty was like, "Oh, okay, so Withnail lied to me. You're not a repressed homosexual who has a lock that I'm going to open and allow to live the best the best years of his youth in the skin of the person he actually is. You're just kind of a quiet guy in a steady relationship that you don't want to mess with, so I'll respect that and leave." But
Right. Withnail's the one with the problem, right? He flips it on Withnail.
But even after Marwood endures all that, and it's funny watching it and stuff, but from his perspective, that would be fucking terrifying. Just not knowing what to do and being afraid this guy's going to come into your room at night and everything. But
he just blasted the chair propped against the door.
But even Marwood being the one to experience that, when Monty leaves just completely dejected, disheartened, and ashamed of himself, Marwood reads his goodbye letter and he throws it in the fire and he kind of sadly says, "Ah, poor Monty, poor old guy." And Withnail could not give less of a single fuck.
Yeah. Right.
He's
right.
Like,
exactly.
I raided your cellar. I got us some more sherry. I think that really speaks to why Marwood might eventually end up with a job while Withnail ends up alone and miserable, because he just he's all about himself. He's the one that engineered that entire situation that put Marwood and Monty in that place. For Marwood to be terrified, for Monty to be heartbroken. And all he can say is, "Yeah, I raided his cellar. I got us some more booze." And Marwood, the victim of it all, is genuinely feels bad for this guy.
Well, I might say great artists, or great art at least, can't afford to be too self-critical or self-aware. It must be uncompromisingly and unabashedly itself. And Marwood seems a little more willing to compromise, to work with, circumstances. And so,
absolutely.
maybe he'll just wind up having bit parts and being an understudy and, whatever. But
well, I mean, we know what happens to him. He becomes a successful writer and director.
At the end, he does get the lead role, so he's not just I think it definitely implies an upward trajectory for Marwood, at least.
Yeah. Well, he's
yes, but he also is a self-insert.
Yeah, he's Bruce Robinson. That's what I'm saying. He's a successful.
Just in the context of the narrative itself, though, without external factors like that, I think it does imply that Marwood's going to go on to be successful, because he does have a little more self-control. He is a little more empathetic and willing to work with people. It's not just, I'm great, so I deserve greatness to come to me. I'm sure he's still to a degree self-centered and everything, but he's willing to work for it in a way that Withnail just seems perpetually incapable of even considering. It seems beneath him.
Right.
But the way he cleans up at the end, with a snap of the screenwriter's fingers, that felt a little weird to me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
All of a sudden, he's ready to grow up and move on.
I think that
leave everything behind, his codependent relationship and his.
Well, because he wasn't the fully codependent one. That he can fully take care of himself at this point. He takes care of Withnail the whole fucking movie.
And I think they put a cap on that as well in the very end when they're walking to the station, and Withnail is just horrifyingly desperate to do anything he can to spend a few more minutes with his buddy that he's completely codependent on. And Marwood puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "Look, I don't want you to come with me. I'm going alone. I'll miss you." I think that really goes to show that Marwood could handle his own life. He could go out on his own, and his whole relationship and sojourn and the doldrums and debauchery with Withnail was just kind of something that he was stopping over on, waiting for something better to happen. Well, for Withnail, that just became the entire point and completely consumed his life. And the only thing left with acting for Withnail is just, it's something that he totally could do, guys. I totally could do it, and that makes me better than you. And Marwood is someone who actually can and is willing to do it and is willing to leave the debauchery behind to do it. So I think it does make sense that he can clean up at the end, because at the end it was sort of just a phase in his life where it has become Withnail's entire identity at this point.
Yeah, he does sort of grow up, right?
Yeah. Well, we also have explicit. The narrative tells us that Marwood is more competent throughout. Like, he's the one that prepares the chicken. While Withnail whinges about it, he does the work. He puts the work in throughout the movie, and at the end we have that. I know I'm fixing it. We have that speech at the end with Danny talking about the balloons, and that's a perfect metaphor for this movie because Danny and Withnail hold on to the balloon. Marwood lets go and touches the ground.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll all float on.
Man, that ending is
Yeah.
just fucking devastating. When he puts his hand on his shoulder, look, Withnail, I really don't want you to come with me. Just imagining being Withnail in the state he's in, hearing that's terrible, terrible. Because like he has to know that he's a drain on everyone around him, and this is the closest anyone's going to get to saying it out loud without malice. Even with lovingly saying, immediately following it up by "I will miss our time together." It's just like, oh, okay, so someone said it out loud, beyond all my pretensions, beyond what a fun guy I am. I'm just a fucking vampire.
That's probably like a big part of the reason why he drinks is because he, is aware of what he's doing to himself and the one person who gives a shit about him.
Yeah.
Totally unrelated, but for some reason throughout the movie, like my brain kept superimposing the faces and likenesses of two completely different actors onto our two leads, specifically Daniel Radcliffe onto Marwood and Hugh Laurie onto Withnail. Does that make sense to
I can kind of see that.
I mean, sure.
Like, it wasn't conscious. My brain just kept doing it on its own.
I mean, they were active at this time.
And they do kind of look like
Daniel Radcliffe?
Oh, Hugh Laurie. I didn't hear. Well, my bad.
Yeah, it almost seemed like he was trying to do a Hugh Laurie. Like,
the
look, the mannerisms.
Oh, well, Hugh Laurie was a big deal at this time. So, yeah, probably.
Oh, that's just an aside. You can probably cut that out.
I mean, whatever. But, like, yeah, that's not the only scene where we see Wood, like, demonstrating that he's a survivor with the bull, Like, he, makes it happen. He stands his ground, chases back into the pen, while Withnail stands on the side, shouting like a coward.
Jumps over the fence and watches and laughs.
Yeah, little bitch.
I mean, again, it is explicitly Withnail who causes that situation. He is the one in the back.
Right.
He was supposed to close the fence. He fucks up, and as soon as the consequences arrive, he's dipping out, and Marwood's got to deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Marwood's the mommy of the relationship, which is funny because I think I read something about Withnail being loosely based on Robinson's then girlfriend or female friend or something like that.
I thought it was a male friend that overdosed.
Well, I can't read, so I may be wrong.
It's further down in my notes. We'll get to it. But anyway.
He's got notes.
Oh, shit, dude. I got pages. I'm like only halfway.
Wait, where did I put my notes? I just had it. It's not on my desk anymore.
Here. I have not gone off my notes a single time yet. I do have them, though.
I've been mostly staying close to them, but I'm...
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of point form things. It's just a number of monologues. I've used several so far.
Fair. Some of my meaty ones are still towards the... but here's an interesting... So we have these two London boys traipsing around North Cumbria, telling everyone that they're not from London. And I think that's just like a beautiful portrayal of the disconnect they have. Because, like, everyone around them has, era accurate Northern Cumbria Geordie accents, and they both have like these fucking London accents. Fucking Withnail talks with like a Shakespearean baritone, and Marwood sounds like a upper class public school boy. Like they know they're not from the area, but they're very British, stiff upper lip about it, and they never like say anything. They don't volunteer too much information at all. They like mostly ignore them. Like you said, Jake like brings them food. Even
Yeah,
after
that
getting
that
that fight with no, yeah.
I thought that was funny. The fact that these, neurotic, passive aggressive city people thought that, their exchange with Jake, that he was, perturbed by it enough to visit violence upon them.
Yeah,
But
it was just Uncle Monty.
Yeah, he thought it was probably, I imagine Jake thought it was just a little banter, a little back and forth.
Yeah, he was just having fun.
Yeah.
Withnail was high and he was getting heated.
And always starting shit.
Yeah. For no fucking.
I mean, even in regards to them being from London, it kind of goes to show that when that's brought up, it's always them kind of being assholes about it. Like they expect they're about to get deliverance out here. No one once ever asks them, "Are you from fucking London? Are you serious?" They always immediately offer it. They're like, "Can we have some food? We swear we're not from London." Or, "Can we have some wood? I'm not from London, It's like they reflexively say it. Like, this will get me in with these hicks. That'll keep me safe.
Yeah.
Like,
but they know.
Like,
that's funny.
they know, but
they're self-conscious about it. They don't want to be, put at a disadvantage because of it.
Like,
and I think it's funny. The only time anyone, you want a line shoot, do you? Which is like the local parlance for you telling me a tall tale.
Yeah. But it is, they just presume that it will put them at a disadvantage when it's really just their behavior, not their accent or where they're from.
Yeah.
Well, the country people are the other. They're projecting their insecurities and fears and whatever onto them.
Yeah.
Except for the landlord. I knew you were in the services as soon as you stepped in.
God, I love that guy.
You can't hide it.
I mean, speaking of actors who are up in the end,
why won't Gilgood retire? Yeah, I thought that was funny. Oh, who's the other actor who was name dropped? Yes, everyone's puts their name down for the it's fashionable. Even Redgrave's doing it.
Redgrave.
Redgrave, Vanessa. Yeah, and that's just them, being pompous assholes. Mostly, that was Uncle Monty that tracks.
Yeah, what can I weasel out of or weasel into? I am an actor after all.
Yeah.
What is the real me but the part I play to any given person?
All right, well, here's an interesting thing getting back Uncle Monty. I have the monologue he talked about cast stories. My God, it's the absolute pinnacle of Uncle Monty's theatrical delusional pomposity. He arrives at the cottage, completely ignores the freezing squalor, sweeps into the room in his grand coat, and immediately launches into that ridiculous high rant about politics. And he's like, "I can't bear the weather forecasters."
Yeah, he's enamored with a different time.
Yeah,
he feels out of place in the present. The present has sort of abandoned him. He is he is the heart of the movie. I would say he's the passion of the movie for sure.
Yeah. He's sort of like a foil for Withnail in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, they've both gone completely unhinged on their debauchery, but I think on the whole, Monty's definitely handling it better, and there is a wistful regretfulness to it. I think that Withnail likes, if he lives to the age of Uncle Monty, he'll possibly get about the same, but Monty is drinking and debauching out of remorse for his past and like how it's all lost to him, and Withnail is just in the moment fucking up. And I think that does.
Yeah, it's rather reflective. Monty is perhaps what you cringed to glimpse in the mirror, old Mankay, forgotten, tragically
Yes.
gay.
I think that does add a little more to his pursuit of Marwood too, because like obviously it's completely self-serving, but I think there is some truth in it when he tells Marwood that he wants to be with him in part so Marwood can express himself as he truly is, because Monty's under the impression that Marwood is a deeply closeted homosexual, and he wants to take him out of the closet, at least for that weekend at the countryside where no one can see. And like, because he says, you don't want to end up like me, you know, having realized when you're my age that you completely wasted your youth not being who you are. And I think that does add quite a bit of depth to Monty's character. It kind of makes him a little more tragic than just a foil, than just a pseudo antagonist who's out for boy booty.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree.
And yet, when he says, "Are you a sponge or a stone?" there was something so sinister about that to me.
Oh yeah, there are several times.
Which is probably intentional, because apparently that's a direct quote from our Italian director who had the amorous intentions toward our screenwriter.
Fair. Oh, he's positively Mo. To Marwood, you know,
Yeah.
like he's trying to get a rise
Yeah.
at.
But
anyway, the point is, like, it's also interesting. Then makes the they talk about royalty, so it's like royalty is also associated with purple, so that's interesting connection thematically.
Yeah, I didn't hear enough of that to piece together what you were trying to communicate.
Jesus fucking Christ, I hate this goddamn thing.
cut out again, but I believe the gist is that the mauve comment and purple is thematically connected. Royalty. Okay.
Yeah.
It only took 3 tries for me to get enough to piece it together.
So using text to speech.
Yeah.
Train an AI on your voice.
I think it's interesting that Monty balks when Marwood mentions they have to labor exchange, to cash their unemployment checks, because Monty is like, living in his lofty.
Yeah. And the film does make a point of like establishing Uncle Monty's not an outlier. Withnail's whole family is loaded. Because Marwood even at one point said, if my family were loaded, I'd ask him for money. So I mean, like, that's another difference between them. Withnail's he expects things to come to him, and in a way, he kind of has a reason for that expectation, because they always have come to him easily. He's just born into that, and I think that's part of what makes it easier for Marwood to walk away at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, Withnail probably didn't have good work ethic instilled in him. I mean, if you never see someone earn an honest day's wages, then what concept of that would you really have? Of course, you'll become an actor or some sort of artist.
Yeah, fair. And the little things that Withnail says are interesting. Like when he toasts, how does he toast? He says chin chin. Very British. Very early 20th century. Which of course chin chin is originally derived the Mandarin Chinese phrase please please. It was picked up by British sailors and merchants interacting with Chinese sailors. So what could be more British than stealing, twisting it into something that the old crust British royal kind of people just throw around.
Yes, he is an atavism.
Yeah.
And of course, these days, anyone of upper class or upper class pretensions would just say L'chaim.
Sure.
I will.
Appease the.
Sorry.
I said we got to appease the. You know,
The
our Jewish over.
powers that may or may not be.
Yeah.
I'm legally or I'm contractually obligated to mention Jews once per episode for impeachment bait.
Yeah, I'm about to fire up my Camberwell carrot so I can ignore you.
I'll start just because I took these notes. Damn it, I'm going to use them. This is kind of
Right. Oh,
temporally out of space where we are in the movie because I just wrote them as I was going along.
Oh, we're all over the place.
The first one I had was like the very first scene. Marwood goes to get breakfast at the little cafe, and like he's just looking at the paper, and it's got an article about a transvestite who talks about,
yeah.
I had to change my sex for love, and he's immediately looks up and sees an old lady bite into a fried egg sandwich, and the juice just goes everywhere, and it's fucking
Yeah, the Yokus is, yeah.
And he looks across, and a guy at the next table is reading another sex scandal story in the paper, and he's just like, I've got to get out of here. Just like, it's just modernity is fucking overwhelming him.
And he can't process it. He can't handle it.
Yeah.
I need to get the fuck out of here. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I think you don't need to be afraid of Albran.
Yeah. Albran was probably the least concerning thing on the list of Albran rape and murder.
Yeah. Yeah, but then later, you know.
I do like how
He's
it's
clearly drunk.
a pub that Withnail and Marwood very clearly frequent, and Dara O'Malley's character, the big Irishman, is like very obviously and loudly threatening to kill them and starting a fight in the middle of the pub. And the bartender, he even kind of looks up from cleaning his glasses and just looks down like he doesn't care. I don't know if that's meant to portray a certain sense of just general societal apathy, or if it's more a comment on, yeah, these guys can get threatened with murder in my bar. I know they'll be back by noon for more.
I thought it was mostly just a bit. Like that's when the movie was doing like a comedy scene.
But the bartender does make a like deliberate point of looking up, kind of observing it from his glass, and then just kind of putting his head back down and cleaning the glass.
Yeah, right, you guys are on your own here, the movie's saying.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of apathy, you know. Yeah, like he's cleaning glasses, doing his thing. And like it's not causing a scene yet, so he intervene unless absolutely necessary, right? That's the vibe I got. Because like there's not anything he can do. Like there's no bouncer there.
Yeah. One thing I noticed repeatedly in the movie was how every time they go and order drinks, they get like a shockingly small amount. They order a large scotch, and the guy barely puts a thimbleful in it.
Yeah, like a 1 ounce amount, it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you go, like, you know, scotch, you know, unless you specifically ask for a double.
Yeah, they're probably just getting topped up, like.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I've been in enough bars.
So, yeah, I figured they were probably not ordering too much at a time.
No, plus they don't have
in most of the places because they were all already, you know, halfway there.
Yeah.
Got to keep that blood alcohol level up.
Right. Yeah, that's the vibe I got. They're just making at this point, you know.
I do like, though, in relation to that, basically every scene where they pay for something, Withnail, despite being the loaded one, is always just like gesturing at Marwood, and he pulls some money out of his pocket to pay. I guess in the theme of politics in movies, it is the upper class leeching from the dwindling resources of the poor, etc.
Yeah,
Just got to tie it back.
I mean, go ahead.
No, I think it's the responsible person who pays for everything and it's maybe isn't happy about it, but is just used to it at this point. Because otherwise things just won't get paid for.
You know, they're selling hippie wigs at Woolworth. The movement has been by corporations.
That was actually something I had in my notes as well. Just Danny opining about the hippie wigs and Woolworths, how the entire counterculture has been subsumed into the mainstream capitalist profiteering culture.
Right. They failed to paint it black, as he put it. I mean, to be fair, you know, Jagger was hanging out with fucking Jimmy Savile around this. So
he was probably good to hang.
You know? Thanks. Fucking, you know.
I maintain the catering on Epstein Island was probably superior. Right?
Can you imagine somebody like getting caught in the files and using that? No, actually, I was there for the salad bar. He had an excellent caterer.
Well, I'm not a scholar on the topic. Is there a link between monarchism and homophobia? Like specifically?
I mean, half of them are positive.
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
Or at least it's the kind of homophobia where if you have a certain class and status, you're allowed to be. But if some random guy is gay, then it's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar Wilde had to go out of his way to get, you know, arrested for obscenity or whatever it was.
I don't think he deserved chemically
castrated. No, he didn't.
He
didn't deserve it, but you know, he was somewhat flaunting it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if
he didn't have the discretion of a Monty, you know, who regales us about his dalliances. I think we should all have an Uncle Monty. We deserve it. He'd do numbers on Grindr, I bet.
Oh, for sure. Him and his fucking cat that he hates.
Yeah. He's so lonely. He's projected a lot onto his cat.
Well, my final thought on this now. He considers himself a grand. His real life behavior is pure wildian dandyism. Is all style, no sincerity, and completely obsessed with maintaining a posh, dramatic illusion. Do you have any thoughts about
that? Yeah.
Obsessed with maintaining a what?
A posh, dramatic illusion.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. He is more interested in the status, I think, and the adoration and the awe that would come with being a successful performer, and far less interested with the craft itself. Like, to him, it's
it's about the end game. It's not about putting the work in.
The career like Jess was saying, deserves and is best suited for by nature and virtue of his birth, and not so much something he's necessarily super interested in on a personal level.
Well, and yet he puts in enough of the work and has enough talent, if not necessarily skill, to do a decent performance of one of the monologues, you know, one of the monologues. So I'd say he has at least applied himself to it somewhat. He has some distorted, twisted, though it may be, some sense of pride in his potential, his abilities, which is, you know, perhaps the main reason why he won't understudy Constantine.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
So he has the fact that his sense of entitlement isn't utterly unfounded is really the thing that poisons him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because he probably could be like that. That's what I was, trying to say earlier with Marwood being the more likely of the two to compromise. Um, that perhaps if Withnail does get his big break, then he'll kill it shortly
Yeah.
before it kills him. Because I doubt that he would be any better at handling success than he is at handling,
The guy that if that based on, died in real life. So should we assume that Withnail also over in the late 60s? Like, not too soon, not too late after the.
Yeah, like I said, in regards to the ending, I don't think they needed that scene where he goes home and actually kills himself for you to draw the
No,
conclusion that that's where
no,
it's headed.
yeah, like it's fine if we, imply that, because we see he's going that direction anyway, right?
Oh, I
Like
saw the name
especially after
Vivian
losing
and
Mom.
assumed it was a lady.
No, it's a man. That's right.
Vivian,
Yeah,
Vivian is a girl's name.
yeah, but it's a man. It's Britain. What do you expect?
And it's a
Oh,
British
yeah.
actor in the 60s.
Yeah, yeah, it was a man named Vic. That's right.
The son of a Scottish accountant, though. That's you would assume a bit more.
But, yeah.
It's not a stage
Anyway, I've got another thing. I really like this Freudian slip. Yes.
No, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at
Oh.
someone describing Vivian as a splenetic wastrel of a fop.
No, anyway, I really like, when Marwood accidentally says, oh, if we can't get the car out, we're buggered. And then, Uncle Monty, no one looks at him, and, Marwood just looks hard. And, Monty helpfully adds, Brandon, because he's like, yeah, like he can, there's a little bit of sexual, but, Monty thinks it's playful banter, but Marwood is terrified.
Yeah. I like how even back then the panicked response to the advances of a gay man that you're not interested in is to hastily declare that you voted conservative. That'll throw him off the scent.
Yeah, it is funny. I voted for the. Leave me alone. Great.
I think you were trying to talk about the Regium Pro Britannia scene.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes is when they're talking about basically the sun, and Withnail tosses out the phrase "Allegium Pro Britannia," which is basically like a requiem for England. They're saying the country's going. The bureaucrats are wrecking everything. It's the same old, but it's but it also of course their disconnect from and their pomposity. Another example of that.
Yeah, just speaking gratuitous Latin and getting it wrong. Very upper class British person.
Yeah, yeah. Well, comes with the territory. But yeah, like that, it comes after Monty is like reciting there, just fucking walking along like he's hot shit, quoting French poetry.
I do think it's interesting how occasionally Withnail and Monty have little asides in Latin, and Marwood clearly doesn't understand what they're saying. I think that's another kind of hint at their socioeconomic background differences. Like during the card game, Monty and Withnail start whispering in Latin and chuckling, and Marwood's just staring like, is Withnail selling me to Monty? Is he selling my bum to Monty?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the consonants of during the card game, the two queens. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Which is
yeah, the sun is setting on, a lot of things in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's set in 1969, so that's bound to be the case.
Yeah.
'Cause it was such a specific year.
Right.
But the sort of tragic romantics of the with no bloodline, this is probably the end of the line. Can we really see with no reproducing
No.
on purpose? Certainly not.
No.
he does mention wanting a child to tutor in the ways of righteousness.
Yeah, but he's too bright.
No, but he only says that because he wants to steal a child's piss.
Yeah. Oh my God! And they catch him. That was
When he
That was a
pulls
fun-
back the curtain and he's just pissing all over the floor.
Yeah, the expression on his face while the cop has got his hand on his prosthetic Johnson.
Yeah.
That was a surprisingly broad scene. Like, there's a few scenes in this movie that are just outright, comic scenes, like the one in the pub and that.
And I think it's interesting that the movie specifically Requiems, because famously this movie came out only 3 years after Amadeus, which was massive at the time.
Amadeus, I don't think I've seen that one. Is that the one with F. Murray Abraham as Salieri?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it because whoever plays Mozart in that, I've seen a couple clips and I just find him annoying.
Tom Holes, but that's the idea.
Like,
he's supposed to be
doing Jacob Collier shit.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a little brat. He's because
it's just an annoying performance though.
Yeah, but Mozart wasn't.
Oh, he's my favorite historical cat boy. Leave him alone. Go
All
on.
right.
Mich im Arsch. Or whatever. I don't know real German. Does that make me an upper class British ponce?
No, but several other things about you do.
Oh.
Well, one last thing.
I've got a thing after that.
That's fair. I think it's interesting that, Marwood thinks that, the police will sign if he kills Monty in self-defense. And that's absolutely, the Sexual Offenses Act 1960 may have deemed sexuality. It absolutely did not change the deeply ingrained homophobia police forces. To a local Cumbrian constable, gay crime would be viewed with total bullshit. The police would want the entire scandal quietly, quickly, and aggressively as possible to keep the vice from saying quite.
Yeah, Britain still has sodomy laws, right? They're still a civilized nation.
No, they were off the board. But I'm saying the stigma was still there.
No, I'm pretty sure they only got rid of their sodomy laws relatively recently, if they got rid of them at all.
I just said the Sexual Offenses Act of 1967 decriminalized homosexuality.
Oh well, that didn't come through. like most of what you've said today.
Right.
My last thing is the magic of these fantasy settings of 20-somethings down on their luck being able to afford to live independently. Like the Friends is perhaps the most famous example of that. But here we've got two guys collecting welfare who nonetheless have a flat with a full-size bathtub to themselves. And they are supporting themselves. They're getting food and drink, mostly drink, but it's just wild to see, considering what things are like today. And because you could support yourself more easily, the basics, food and shelter and whatever, that's how we got more wild stories like the aspects of real experience that made their way into this film. More characters floating around without being, destroyed or pounded into little boxes.
Yeah. It is a fucking trip seeing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just how you used to be able to kind of live without a massive income. But, I mean, even Danny and Presuming Ed, the guy who's selling apparently what is extremely expensive pills, now that you've mentioned how much 2 quid was in 1969. But even he basically just lives in people's houses when they're away. They come back home and he's snuck in on the drain pipe with Presuming Ed.
He doesn't have shoes. He doesn't need shoes. He can get by more or less.
Yeah.
One thing
he's surviving,
and he's like your stereotypical, just mooching off his.
Yeah. One thing I do like about Danny's character, they got absolutely right about that sort of like mooch, wastrel, drug dealer archetype in real life, is he thinks he's a fucking legal expert. He took their mail and their eviction notice, and he tried to argue with their landlord who's kicking them out. He's like, I've read fucking papers.
Yeah, totally backfired.
Like, just that unhinged confidence that you can maneuver your way around the law, that you totally found the sovereign citizen loophole.
Weed from Mexico, that he's got a grasp on the situation. He doesn't, like everyone else,
He's a big deal. He's an international wheeler and dealer. He's got contacts. He's very well connected.
Danny's character is interesting because he is a total burnout, like Withnail, but he is more comfortable, more self-aware and more able to function in that position as a burnout. He's not like, he probably wasn't born rich like Withnail. He's got little schemes and tricks and stuff. He doesn't just expect it to come to him. He still knows how to climb a drain pipe when your buddies are out of town to live in their house.
Yeah, he's got a grind set. And he's also a good trip sitter.
Yeah.
He also offers to share his weed, which not all people do.
Yeah.
I can't finish this firm young carrot myself. Here, you have a puff.
I said, stick a dick in my ass.
Trying to quote Danny where he
I heard that.
Yeah, because it only fucking Jesus. I said, why trust one drug and not the other, you fucking worthless microphone?
Funnily enough, I picked up all that.
Yeah, no shit.
Is it one of those voice activated ones?
No, it's just being bitchy for no reason.
Is it the same loose cable?
I don't know. Let's wrap up. I'm tired of this shit. All right. Any closing thoughts?
No, other than to say that I am pleasantly gratified that Withnail I can still be something I consider probably my favorite movie. It definitely holds up, and it doesn't necessarily directly address too many political issues, but they permeate throughout the whole thing. It's a very
there's some stuff we didn't even talk about.
Yeah, like the Team Cake show.
Oh yeah. They see 2 bums walk in and they immediately call the police.
Well, they don't.
I mean, fair. It's a bunch of fucking pensioners sitting around, and these drunk, unshaven assholes come in when you're closing. So
yeah, fair. We've been talking Withnail the 1987 satirical comedy written and directed by Bruce Robinson and starring Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann. All right. Fishy, GS, did you have a good time?
I wish we could have understood one another more and had a more coherent conversation. But yeah, I think we definitely got across some good points and conversations even.
I'll clean
within
it up.
that. But
Okay, so yeah, what am I missing? Like, why do you consider this your favorite movie? Like, what about it speaks to you? Help me
I
figure
think,
it out.
It's a brilliant satirical character study. That alone.
yeah, I mean, it's
So is it the characters, their dialogue? Is it there's a couple nice bits of cinematography, like especially of the moor and the fun bit with the wrecking ball and the production design of the apartment they have is like, yeah, that stuff's all pretty well done, and it's well enough cast and performed
Yeah.
and whatever. But overall, just yeah, sort
Watch
of
it again.
in one ear out the other for me.
Watch it again in a couple years. I guarantee you.
for me, a large part of it, I think, is the very accurate portrayal of that kind of stuck in a rut in life situation. That is, it manages to
Yeah.
be extremely funny, but at some points it's definitely satirical and meant to be comedic, but there's never a single point where they go so far where it's like, okay, this would never happen in real life. If you hang out with enough sufficiently fucked up people, everything that happens in that movie is something that would reasonably happen at some point. They never jump the shark. I think it's just a very well told story about two people in a pretty bad time in their lives getting through it as best they can. That doesn't at all, romanticize or glorify this type of lifestyle, but it also doesn't come across as like talking down on it. It's very matter of fact with it while still maintaining a sense of realism and being, at least in my opinion, hilarious.
I think
My
I did get
cousin's a
one.
QC.
I think I did get one little chuckle in the movie, but I don't remember what it was. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me to call it a black comedy either.
Comedy mean? What does
What
black
one
comedy
black
mean to
guy
you?
in it at the very end? What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Presuming Ed. We love him.
He's
He just wants a
chanting
bath.
while he's
They're
rubbing
good
the
hygiene.
globe. Fucking. If I was, even if I was stone cold sober and hadn't just hit that carrot like Marwood had, I think that would drive me insane.
Yeah. Oh God, I'd probably pass that.
It almost
Honestly.
felt like Presuming Ed's lines are 80 yard in or something. They sound so much deeper, and
It might
never,
be. Yeah.
I think I think they were. Yeah, it was just for
yeah, the camera's
effect,
never on it.
right? Because
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
even see him speak ever. And there is one part where he has an 80-yard in line. I think he gives this like big
Yeah.
booming laugh, and then we cut to him, and he like hasn't moved.
Yeah, the laugh actually scared me last night. I'd forgotten about it. It was like a jump scare. It's so deep and sinister.
I don't have
I mean-
time for free love and drugs. I've got to invent credit scores. In 1987. Thanks, boomers. Those gave us credit scores, isn't it? These guys didn't have to worry about credit scores. That's all.
That would be nice. I've not looked at my credit score in forever. I'm scared.
Oh God, I know what mine is.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Mine's pretty good.
Oh God. All right. Any
Which
other
is
thoughts?
funny because until very recently, I didn't think that I could even get a credit card.
Yeah. All right. Politics and Withnail and I. See ya.